to look at the panelists, experts. Oh my God. And we have a full house, big class. This is amazing. Third day, last session, lunch is at 2, but we have them, their time from their busy schedule right in front of us. I mean, I don't know whether I'm dreaming this or this reality. I have to pinch myself. I think it's a reality. So that's great. But let's also pause and think why we are all here and what is the core that has brought us here. And that's our founder, Sandeep Nailwal. Please stand up and let people know who is here, who is brought everybody here. Let me introduce him and our amazing young CEO, Dr. Gaurav Singh, a clinician himself. So, just for my colleagues here on the panel, 4 years back, when महामारी मची थी पूरी दुनिया में, everybody was anxious कि क्या होने वाला है. There was turbulence. And you see, you're nodding your heads. You know what I'm going to talk about. It is COVID. And उस time पे, there was, this young leader, right, in Dubai said, मैं इंडिया के लिए क्या कर सकता हूँ? And he poured in, through just one tweet, he had built a company called Polygon Tech. And, by what he saw, and he's from Uttarakhand, an amazing life story that hopefully you'll get to know later. We don't have time, and Faraj, I'm not looking at 58 minutes. You would have paused that because this is more important. That's and Sandeep, through his one tweet, raised money from the blockchain community and provided India's close to $60 million, whether it is for pandemic relief, for oxygen concentrators, for many other things that we were running short of. One of the most important things we forget what we were running short of was it was a global adult vaccination drive happening for almost 6 billion people at the same time. So the supply chain and this was not polio ke khurak jaisa, all the medicines we made were going to be injectables. So we needed syringes. And so at the heart of it, we ran out of syringes. And thanks to the benevolence of Sandeep, working with UNICEF and Government of India, we procured 165 million syringes. So the statistics is 1 in 7 COVID vaccination happened with the benevolence of support that Sandeep provided through this organization. 4 years, you blink it goes, and look at this organization, what has happened in the last 4 years. Post-pandemic, both Sandeep and Gaurav decided that let's take from pandemic relief to pandemic preparedness. So we talk about mRNA vaccine as if mRNA vaccines drop out of, banyan trees. I don't know what trees are there in the Western Europe or in East Coast of US. But there's been long, sustained, deep science. What Sandeep and even our principal scientific advisor, who sent an amazing message yesterday. We have our, Dr. Ram Gopal Rao right here, the leading scientific figure in the country that also we have. They all talk about how India does upstream research that is between the basic science and between translational science, that has a DNA marker to go beyond the lab, beyond the cells of the laboratory and going all the way to market. May take 7 years, may take 15 years, but is India doing that? Are we doing the science for tomorrow, in today's India? And thanks to what happened in the last 2 years of our focus, it happened that we then started creating a network called Biome. And in the last 2 years, sir and madam, here we have built a network of more than 50 organizations. Our verticals are research institutions, and you see the stalwarts here. Dr. Radha Rangarajan is right in the front. Dr. Vinay Nandikuri. Radha Rangarajan runs CDRI in Lucknow. Dr. Vinay Nandikuri runs CCMB in Hyderabad. So we have CSIR Institute, so we have DBT Institute, so we have, so that's the first vertical. The middle vertical we created is with top innovation platforms. So we have venture center, Dr. Premnath Venugopalan, who in Pune. We have Miss Dipanvita Chattopadhyay somewhere in the middle row right there. She, pioneering IKP Knowledge Park, the first research park in India. Tasleem was here. I think he's hiding somewhere. Tasleem, C Camp. All of them are part of us. And innovators that they nurture are part of it. I'm just giving you a context what has happened in the last 2 years. And the third missing vertical, whenever we talk about innovation, actually it's fourth. A third missing vertical we decided, and thanks to our CEO who himself is a clinician, trained in AMU, Dr. Gaurav Singh, then MD from Gujarat, and a postdoc from NIMHANS, Bangalore. He said, clinicians ko bhi late hain. And we are now supporting close to 15 medical colleges. Our clinicians and faculty right there, whether it's AIMS, Delhi, AIMS Jodhpur, whether it's JIPMA, whether it's LV Prasad. So all of that is there. One other important component that has been with us for a very long time is the vertical on public health innovation. And that is, we call it district full stack. So, you can see the panel. This is what in the corporate speak, this is a vertically integrated organization that we have created, right from bench all the way to grassroots. And in between, of course, we are still learning. And this is the context I wanted to set before. I wanted to set the context for this panel. So thank you for your patience. Big round of applause again for panelists, for Sandeep, and for Gaurav Singh. Thank you. Now, actually, I'm a novice in this, so I'm thankfully Sarah is here and she is the expert in terms of panelists, and you all are stalwarts in your professions. And all of us have heard you, listened to you, seen you either on TV, radio, and today you're right in front of our print media, and today you're right in front of us. So, engaging media in science is the theme, and we have a couple of before we start. Paraj, who actually put this together along working with Pooja Jetwani and others, said कि sir ये ना पहले तो एक poll करना चाहिए. We are nations of poll. The nation wants to know. I'm stealing somebody's phrase. So let's do that poll, Faraj, if you want. And this is the poll from the audience. The first question I have to see, Faraj has shown me, and this is bad timing by me. I have to. Yeah, please scan the QR code and see the question. And the first question, how often do you come across news related to science or research in mainstream news channel, newspapers, or on YouTube platforms? I'll give 10 seconds. I hope your QR code camera is working perfectly. And 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. There's a young girl from Berlin also taking it. So, okay. So that's done. The second question is, and the second QR code, how do you easily access science news? Options, newspaper, digital platforms. Is the second QR? This is the second one? This is the same one. Oh, okay, great. Sorry. And social media and podcast. Number 3 is, can you recall any recent science-related development that caught your attention? Very simple question, no or yes. And you have to write what is it about. So while you do that, let me set the context for our lovely panel here and hand over the baton to Sarah here, who can then take the lead. Answer आ गया? Okay. The first, turn your heads around. How often do you occasionally come? 40%, rarely 30%, a few times a week 10%, daily 10%, never 10%. So rarely और never को मिला दें तो वो 40% हुआ. Occasionally कभी कभार आता देखते हैं तो वो 40%. तो almost 80% कभी कभार से लेके rarely. Okay. Second, how do you usually access science news? You can see the new social media, 50%, digital platform, 50%, right? I wish we knew how many voted. Can you recall any recent science-related development? Yes, 80%. No, 20%. Okay. So maybe that yes was Subhranshu Shukla. How many of you heard that name? Right? Yeah. Okay, nobody? All right. Uh, right. That's sets up our discussion points here. Allow me another 2 minutes of monologue, and then we'll get right into it. And make it a little personal. My father went to Canada for his PhD, and old albums हम जब देखते थे ना, एक फोटो है टीवी का, you can't see anything. My father will say, that was the day when Apollo was launched with Neil Armstrong. Okay. And it still lies in that old album. I mean, of course, what we have done since Apollo days, from the call of Kennedy to land on the moon to where we are today, it's a completely different world, right? And today, information is traveling at a pace that you all are experts in that. I don't need to tell you, everybody, information is right here. And I saw my CEO once wearing a Google Glass, and information is right in front of your eyes as well. You can take picture, right? So that's the information age. Data is the new oil, as we say. But how do we make sure that we have, sir and madam, right in front of you, clinicians, faculty, directors, innovators, policymakers, academicians, how do we make that understanding of science to them? And in a way that they know that as a country, India should be investing in science and technology for the long term. बहुत लोग पूछते हैं, आप लोग फंड करते हैं तो निकल के कुछ आता है क्या? Right? With a very negative tone. Okay, how do we make them? And this is public perception of science in India. How do we bridge that? That's one. And bridging those complex scientific concepts to broader audience, you do it well every day and night. And what makes you interested in science? So, for example, ma'am runs a TV show, and every day she's when you decide what do you pick to tell to your audience, we have somebody doing amazing work in Big FM. By the way, Big is the name of India's largest biotech funding by BIRAC. Okay, so it's called Biotech Ignition Grant. How do you decide कि इसके बारे में बात करना है? Right, so that's the second. And आजकल के ज़माना, you just saw whether it's TikTok platforms, all of that. How are you as science influencers? How do you want to tackle that? Right. So that's the question. And Sarah was helping me ideate these questions, by the way, right in coffee outside. So, given all this context, given that हमारे Prime Minister जी ने कहा है, Jai Jawan, Jai Kishan, and we have added the new phrase Jai Vigyan. How do we take that Vigyan to the community and to our country and make them understand what science is and how should we do it? Sarah, you start. I'll come and join you right there.
All right. Thank you so much, Satya, for setting such a wonderful context. And thank you also to BFI for organizing this important discussion in a meeting which was all about innovation, science, and it's really nice and refreshing to also talk about how that science and innovation is actually taken to the people for whom it's meant for. And I must also give you, I mean, kudos to you for also bringing journalists and putting them on the hot seat for a change. It's just usually, the other way around. And what a fantastic panel, as Satya has already, mentioned. So, someone who's been working, who's been a biomedical researcher and now working at the interface of science and society for many years, I have witnessed and been part of many of these discussions around science and media and, how do we bridge the gap between science and media. But what I have noticed in the last couple of years since pandemic and since ChatGPT AI, it has completely transformed newsrooms as well as how we access and make sense of information that, we get from various channels. I think media continues to be the most important source of scientific information for the public in India still. I think, or any kind of information and news for the larger public in the country. So I think media and journalists play a huge role in that sense, in the communication of science and building public understanding of science. And so that way, I see scientists and journalists and media as allies to help improve public's understanding of science. But I also see journalists and scientists improving each other's practice through dialogue and through critique and through, chronicling the times that we are living through. So to begin with, if I can request all the panelists to pick up their mics, I have a very quick question to start us off, and that is that if you had to, and I understand there are three of you who've, at the end of the panel, who've been covering science for many years, who've been writing about science for many years. Of course, we have Nagma and Nitin who have probably spoken about science, but in very different contexts. So I just want to understand from all of you, how do you see the current relationship between science and media? If you had to describe it in a word or a phrase, what would that be? So what comes to your mind when we talk about the relationship between science and media? Good, bad, ugly, comfortable?
I'd call it, if you give me only one word, बहुत अजीब सी बात है, रेडियो जॉकी को बोल रही है एक वर्ड में बात करो, बुलाना ही नहीं था, बेइज्जती करनी थी तो. But I would say, I would elaborate on it a little later, but in one word, I think it would be confused.
Confusion.
Yeah.
Great. We will, I think, dig those thoughts.
अब आगे बोलने दोगे ना अभी कुछ.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
मेरे हिसाब से अभी काफी दूरी है. जो you referred to media and scientists as allies. Yes, we are allies. We need to be allies. But we barely have started getting to know each other, I feel. And I'm talking of generalists like me who are anchors and reporters, and we've been reporting not just on science but on many other issues. So for someone like Pallav and my other co-panelists who've been focusing on science is different. For someone like us, we really need more access to understand the information first so that we disseminate it further. So there is a gap which needs to be bridged.
Great. Thank you so much, Nagma. Pallav?
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, BFI. Thanks a lot, Sara, Satya. My name is Pallav Bagla, and I would say it's rising. It has grown exponentially, but the gap is there. We need to bridge it, and forums like this would help. We need more of this.
More of it. Thank you. Amitabh?
Yes, so there's an increasing engagement if you talk in terms of media and science. There is an increasing engagement, and also on the demand side, I think there is a greater demand for more science-based stories from the reader's perspective.
That's great. That's great to know. And last but not the least.
So the word that I would like to use for this is evolutionary, because just as evolution in biology suggests that there is change that is happening constantly, that is influenced by the environment in which a particular organism lives. There is no particular end term. It is always evolving and changing. And evolution doesn't always necessarily mean positive. It is just going ahead.
Yes.
So at different points, we've had different economic realities of India and the role of science and technology in it.
Right.
And as different mediums come in, it also has it influences the way us journalists too write about science and the topics we choose.
Right.
So I'd leave it at that for now.
Thank you so much. Nitin, you wanted to add something? No. Okay. Thank you so much for those quick thoughts. I wanted to get a sense in the, on the panel of how you're thinking of science and media, and, whether the situation is good, bad, needs more work. And I think we've got a really good set of thoughts
So
there.
Sarah, the word cloud that we just got from our panelists is confusion. We need access. Evolutionary. Pallav said, ऐसे चीजें ज़्यादा होना चाहिए, more of this.
Need more of it.
Yeah, more of it. So this is brilliant word cloud. Now, hopefully, I don't know whether our console team can put together the word cloud in the back. Okay, go ahead.
Wonderful. So my first question is to Pallav, Amitabh and Jacob, and maybe it's slightly provocative, but there is a general sense that the engagement between scientists and media is fairly transactional, in the sense that scientists see it as PR and or a promotional activity, and the media interactions with scientists tend to focus on extracting quick bites or juicy stories about science, or very simplified or very simplistic stories of science. So this sort of limits the nuance that science deserves, that communication of science deserves. So as editors and journalists who are shaping public narratives and understanding of science, how can we move beyond this superficial engagement with science? So any of you can start.
Okay. Yes. So, my thoughts on these are as follows: is that I might be a science journalist, but at the end of it, I'm primarily a journalist who's working in a larger newsroom. I occupy, and I'm given no particular special slack or consideration that, oh, you are a science journalist vis-a-vis a colleague of mine who's a political journalist, or somebody, another person who covers economics. So we are all the same in one sense. Our constraints are the constraints of all journalists everywhere, which is deadline and the amount of space that you're getting. And like all of the journalists, and I come from a print medium, is we compete for our stories to be on the front page, which is the greatest high always, at least for a print journalist. Now, with these three constraining factors, it's like scientists also have constraining factors like funding and the time frame of funding. Vis-a-vis, they filter their ideas and narrow down their research questions. These are the three areas under which we work. Now, it is only over time and an interest in the larger world of science by which we are able to ask scientists questions about their work and extract information in a way that is true, that is interesting, and also fits in with our requirement that this, what we write about, must be interesting or engaging to a reader who is an undefined entity, because we all have fantasies about what our ideal reader should be, but a reader is still a very vague idea. So we try to broad base what we write about. And to me, the challenge of science journalism or writing about science is that in being able to compress what you know in a way, in a small set of this thing, you try sometimes you only aim to be not wrong, but it is in this interpretation of not being wrong, and what scientists sometimes interpret, oh, you should have said that, there is a dialectical tension that happens, but that's part of the game. And I also, finally, in closing, I would also say that every field, whether it's a politician or any other expert, the relationship is always transactional, in
Very
terms of what they want
Yeah.
would to be written vis-a-vis what actually gets written.
That's very
That's all I'd say.
Amitabh.
So, in my personal experience, I would say I've had a very positive experience of interacting with scientists, and I've been doing this for almost 25 years now. I do not remember of any instance wherein the scientist has been reluctant to share information. Most of the times they are quite, they spend a lot of time in trying to make you understand what they are talking. So in these 25 years, probably, no, I would say, very generally speaking, there earlier, a larger proportion of scientists probably would be slightly reticent to talk to journalists or about publicizing their work. Now, I think people are opening up much more. In fact, I get so many of requests now from scientists willing to write themselves as well. I have to disappoint a lot of people, mainly because of the constraints, some of the constraints that Jacob mentioned. But there is a openness to talk about their work, to discuss their work, and also make a sort of comment on what others are writing, on whether things are right or not. So I don't think it's entirely sort of transactional as well. I think people, especially the scientific community, people in the knowledge community, they are actually investing some time and effort to see that their work is going out and reaching people that way. Some journalists like us probably have to spend a little more time uh, uh, writing a science story than, and it's not very specific about science as well. I think anything which is not as familiar as politics, cricket, or Bollywood. I mean, these are the only three things which probably everyone would be familiar with. You don't actually need to get into explaining stuff. Rest everything, whether it's like say banking or any other kind of reporting that people do, I would put it in a slightly non-familiar category, and so is the case with science as well, wherein probably journalists like me have to invest a little more time, spend a little more time reading and talking to the relevant people, and that effort has to be put in to make the story readable and understandable to our readers.
Thank you, Amitabh. Pallav.
See, my perspective is different. I'm primarily a television person. I spend an enormous time talking to people, not just on phones to get a bite. I have never been a bite collector in my life. I will never be a bite collector. For me, it's not a transactional relationship at all. For people who have known me, I've done 40 years of reporting what I do. I spend an enormous time in what I call peace time. So that I...
Peace time.
What time? Peace. When I need quality information on a quick turnaround, then the person on the other side needs to have known me. And we have Dr. Vinay here, we have Dr. Ram Gopal. They know me. I spend enormous time well before a big story begins. So that when a story is happening, people should be available to me. Yesterday, even as the launch was happening, I was able to have a communication, I'm talking of the NISAR launch, with people who are sitting on the console. They can respond to me there because over time they know if I'm reaching out for something at that critical moment, it is a necessity. So doing what I do is deeply engaging with the community, deeply engaging. And if people have seen, even during this Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla's mission to the International Space Station, we had some of the deepest engagement on that. And that's probably the story which people have recalled. And we covered that. And if I can say so boldly, with both my hands tied behind my back. I had absolutely little support from the Indian agency, no support from the American agency, yet we managed to do close to 200 stories. Wow. And it takes a lot of effort, and it needs the support of able colleagues like Nagma for us to be able to do what we do. And Nagma is an able colleague with me at NDTV. Both of us have done lots of programming together. I spearhead science. But also, let me tell you, please don't go back with any impression. The Indian public loves science, technology, environment, and health. These are of abiding interest. Politics comes and goes, Hollywood comes and goes, crime goes, but your health, dependent on science, will always be engaging. 40 years I've seen we get tremendous traction for it. I wouldn't have been in NDTV 25 years if we've not been able to do what I did.
Thank you so much, Pallab.
So just to add to what Pallav said, I mean, thanks to NDTV and a platform like NDTV who stood by us, and we were able to do and Pallav was able to do what he did. Because, the problem, having said that, the problem with mainstream media and especially broadcast media, television, I'm not talking about the papers like print, like Indian Express and Hindu, where they have dedicated science reporters. But for television, for someone like Pallav to be there, do the stories and do so many stories, it requires a lot of effort, consistent effort that he's made. And like he said, to be in touch with people so that they are accessible to him when he needs that big story. Unfortunately, television runs on very, very strict deadlines. One moment the story is important, and another later half an hour, you just need another breaking news, or someone just a ruckus in the parliament or anything which will take over. And then your story that you've prepared, a show that we prepared with a lot of effort, it has happened to us, and it's heartbreaking. Believe me, that you're not able to do the show you prepared. But that's what television news is. So to make it interesting is a big challenge of the science stories. But like Pallab said, people are interested in anything to do with their health, especially COVID. And during COVID, we saw how we reported on various facets of health. Other than that, anything to do with technology, the Indian audience is lapping it up. Now, what we need to do is also while we make it accessible to people in their terminology, we should not be compromising on the quality and the information and accuracy. And I said that television is all about speed, especially now when you don't even see big stories. We see speed news all the time, right? This is what television is, because the attention is so fleeting in a world of reels and seconds of video. So having said that, I'm not saying that any news should be only in the form of reels. We do need good conversation, in-depth conversation, but let's make it more accessible, where the language is something that a general audience can also understand. I find sometimes that the information that comes out, it is a little more technical and not so simple. And I'm not saying simplify it for everyone, but you have to present it in a way where I understand, what am I gaining? Why is it important for me? What's my takeaway from this? So that's something that's missing. Another problem I want to mention is that television channels do not have dedicated science reporters, especially TV channels. I mean, NDTV was probably one of the exceptions who had someone like Pallav Bagla, but otherwise, we do not have. We have generalized reporters where there is a big news happening, like, something very general news. I will not call it a scientific news. Then you have everyone who's covering a political beat to any other beat or a crime beat, running and doing a science story. That's not how it is. It should be the way he just mentioned, that you have to be consistent on that beat. And that's how you get the access, and you are able to do justice to that information. So it's like a chicken and egg problem. People are not watching, so you don't do the stories. But you don't do the stories, people will not watch. You have to make it, maybe have a dedicated space as well to at least cull out some stories on a weekly or a daily basis, or like we used to have it earlier, like fashion, entertainment, science, all of that in a daily news bulletin. That's been missing too. So because I'm representing the television media here, which is what I would say सबसे ज्यादा बदनाम है, और जो जिसका स्तर हर रोज गिरता गया है, तो उसमें ये प्रॉब्लम है. This is a problem that we need to address too. And it all boils down to ratings, that we're not getting ratings, people are not watching, and which is why we're not doing it. So I'll leave it at that, and we'll continue the conversation. That's the problem we face.
I'd like to add, so जितने भी panelists बैठे हुए हैं, I'm representing a very different industry, which is not usually expected to give out a lot of information. ऐसे लगता है कि ये सिर्फ entertainment के लिए है. Now you got to understand the challenge of radio also. I've been doing radio for around 26 years now, and I've actually seen it evolve into what it is today. And the challenge with radio is that, if Nagma ma'am is, for example, talking about a particular topic, she'll talk about it for around half an hour. I'm going to talk about it in my show for 1.5 minutes, then I play a song. So I'll talk about something very serious, which is concerned with bioscience, and I'm going to follow it up with Jahan Teri Ye Nazar Hai. So there might be a disconnect over there. So for radio, it becomes a bigger challenge, because as ma'am was mentioning, there's a lot of jargon that is used when it comes to science. And a lot of time what happens is that the general public doesn't get it. So it's a bigger challenge for radio because you have to put it out there in layman's word, and you know, it is an art. That is why I think all radio jockeys are artists. So it is an art, and we sort of learn that as we go along. And I say that with all humility that we do that a lot on Big FM. Like I'll give you just a couple of examples. Like every year during December, we know that we start living in a gas chamber in Delhi NCR, right? Because of the pollution, the way it peaks up. So what I did was I started an entire campaign where I told people that you cannot wake up in December and say, "Oh, pollution hogi," right? So what I've started doing is that throughout the year we run these campaigns. We're talking about pollution all the time. We ran a campaign called Har Ghar Hara Ghar. Now that campaign was about how it is important to put indoor plants in your house, right? But if you just keep telling people, पांच पौधे लगा दो, photo खींच के selfie लगा दो, social media पे डाल दो, they'll probably do it because, they want to tom-tom about it and say that, we were on Big FM today in the morning with Nitin and, we were interviewed. But we had to explain that entire thing to them, why it is important, how is it going to impact their health, what do the doctors say? So we got experts on, because people perceive us as entertainers. So every time we need to talk about something which is connected with science, we need to get experts on board. I'd come back to what Nagma ma'am said. At that time, sometimes it becomes a little difficult to get scientists on board, experts on board, because most of these people are very happy with what they're doing. They don't want to go out and really talk about it. Let's face it. है ना? तो किसी scientist को आप phone करें, नहीं रहने दो, इसकी जरूरत नहीं है. Now, recently, last week, 2 weeks ago, I started talking about LDCTs on air, which is basically low density CT scans, right? And why I spoke about it is that because आम जनता को यूजुअली पता ही नहीं है कि CT scan, for example, even doctors, as a last resort on air, which is basically low density CT scans, right? And why I spoke about it is that because आम जनता को यूजुअली पता ही नहीं है कि CT scan, for example, even doctors, as a last resort tell you कि जाके CT scan कराइए. It has a lot of effect on the body. But now there are low density CT scans available in a lot of hospitals in Delhi. But people are not aware. So who's going to make them aware? As a radio jockey, I thought it's my responsibility. So then we got experts on board. We got a lot of cardiologists on board, and they came and explained, neurologists on board, who told the audience that what is the impact of a MRI on your body, of a CT scan on your body, and how these low density machines are going to make a change, and why you should opt for these, right? So we do our bit. We are trying our best, but the challenge is to make it relevant to the public. I think that's the word. When you make science relevant to the public in layman's language, then I think it appeals to them. And then, as Pallav sir was saying, people do respond and people are interested in science as long as you speak the language.
Sir, I think the panel has amazingly addressed our follow-on questions, right? So I was going to ask similar question about what Pallav and Nagma just touched upon, and Nitin as well. To make it relevant to the public, how does the newsroom give priority? And I think Nagma and Pallav did touch upon those. So, and we have a good 20 minutes. So let's take a pause. And I heard Jacob and Amitabh say that, and also I think, Nitin said not many scientists are happy they're doing it. So there will be two polls on either side. One is, how many of you really want your story to be, because all of you believe that you're doing amazing work, which is true. How many of you would like that story to have the relevance and to be printed or shown by the media? Raise your hands. Okay. So
I'll note down all the numbers today.
yeah, that's 30.
And then I'll see कोई respond करता है नहीं करता कल से.
सबको पकड़िएगा इसके बाद.
That's 30%, right? But the reverse is true. I mean, Sarah nicely started the question about transactional, which, it kind of is, but, and the question is, when a medical college or when a research institution is celebrating something and celebrating, something something they think that they've done very well, how often you get an invitation कि, Pallav ji जरा आएंगे, मिलेंगे. Do they have, forums like a Friday platform every quarter where they interact with media? Have you heard of something like that from our institutions?
We don't have platforms, but I do get a lot of invites. And obviously, we can't go and attend every event.
Of course not.
We try and do our best. A more engagement would always be better. But let me also add, I have seen times when we had far more engagement. And in India, science is largely funded by the government. So let us look at what happens, and the access is also dependent with the government. There have been times when we've had tremendous access, times when we have had very little access, and we live in times of drought. So that's it. But I must also add one small thing here. While many people think you need long format, I personally, from a 60-second reel to a 1 hour show to a longer show in English and Hindi, I do all of them. I get amazing views for both long format and short format. The shorter format, which is reels, do very well on social media, especially WhatsApp. They do very well. So one has to engage with different audiences using different idioms and different formats. So whatever you do in horizontal format, for Instagram, you need to do in vertical format. And as somebody who does a lot of digital work, and for anybody in the audience who needs to do that, you need to understand what your audience is, because you're doing a wrong format. The social media platforms simply will not accept it. So it becomes very, very difficult. So you have to do, as a consequence, work for somebody like me has increased manyfold. And what I used to do in one is no longer. I have to do the same thing in different formats for different media.
आप लोग interns लेते हैं क्या? All of you take interns from science? If, so please spread the word. If some of your masters, PhD students want to do internship, how do they do internship with you?
So I think, sorry, I'm just
Go ahead.
stepping in. Interns are general interns. We don't really take interns on the basis of science or health, or usually interns come in from the media workshop, media houses, the various colleges, mass communication institutes. But also, I want to add to this, when we talk of science in the newsroom or science reporting, what do we really mean by that? That's also important to look at. I mean, are we only talking about research work? And if we talk about research or new innovations, then we need to improve upon the language, which is when the scientists are giving out information, then sometimes you feel that you've given out the information and that's enough. But the challenge for the journalist is also to contextualize that, right? You have to put it in a perspective for the audience of why should my audience be interested in it? So just giving out that work, I would urge that whatever information is being sent should also be sent out in a language which kind of strikes a chord with the general audience. It's okay in the scientific community to talk in a certain language, but when we give it out to the media outlets, then that language has to change and also be more relevant to people.
Right.
Secondly, when I talk about science reporting, to me, if there is a big danger of tsunami and the earthquakes, reporting on that can also be done in a scientific way, right? Where what we are hearing in Russia and Japan and tsunami and earthquake. So there has to be a scientific tone and temper in the news that we report. We should not be just sensationalizing that, because at that time there's a lot of interest in the public to know the science behind that too. At that moment, if you give out information on what causes tsunami or why is a certain landslide happening in the Himalayan areas, which some of my colleagues have been doing reports on that, then there is an interest then. So you also have to find out the timing. Where the timing is important. That's the time when you can talk about landslides and environmental change and climate change and why is the landslide happening there. Right? So that also needs to be kept in mind. And science is not just the discoveries and the innovations and the research papers, but all that can also be put in a scientific language. And anything to do with health, people are ready to lap it up. Anything to do with technology. So the trick and the challenge here is to make it interesting for the people and tell them that this is something that you need to know because it affects your life in this way.
Understood. Yeah.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
You know,
please do.
from radio's point of view, I'd like to say that we also need to like radio programming. Usually, when you have like a 4-hour show, it's not a dedicated show. You don't have like 1 hour for science, 1 hour for something else, 1 hour for traffic. Everything is mixed. It's a mixed bag, right? So whoever tunes it, they're tuning in at different points of the day, different times of the hour. So you've got to give them relevant information and different information, because if you don't give them variety, they'll probably tune off and never come back to you. So that is why sometimes it becomes a bigger challenge over there again. Now, how, as Nagma was just talking about this, I'd like to touch upon this. Like, Corona was a perfect example how radio adapted so beautifully to this, and how we spoke about science. So because what happened was that when the pandemic started, we were probably one of the first stations to go on air. We didn't go off air at all. We started functioning from home.
Yeah.
All the equipment was sent at home, and post COVID, I'm still working from home. We've been doing a show from home. So, but what happened was that a lot of people would call us up because they were scared from these tests. First, they didn't want to get tested positive, and then they were a little confused why the swab is going. Why they put it into their nose and why they're putting it at the back of their throat. So people would call us and tell us, is there no other way of doing it? And that was the time, we had to speak about the science of it. We had to get experts on to tell people that it's okay. This is for your own betterment. So it beautifully fit because people wanted to know about it, and we had the information. We got the experts on, and we explained it to them. So it can be done. Again, as Nagma was also talking about this, the trick is to put it in such a way that people can digest it and people can understand what you're saying.
Great.
Add something? Can I add something?
Please, 30 seconds.
Sure.
दुनिया जानना चाहती हैं आपसे.
मैं ऐसा नहीं लगना चाहिए सबको कि साइंस केवल अंग्रेजी में करी जा सकती है.
This was my next question to Jacob and Amitabh.
मैं अत्यंत रूप में ढेर सारी साइंस हमने हिंदी चैनल पे करता हूँ, और हिंदी की ऑडियंस मेरी ज्यादा बड़ी है. अंग्रेजी की ऑडियंस तो छोटी सी है. हिंदी की ऑडियंस बहुत बड़ी है और बहुत लर्नेड है. जब कॉल इन शो होते हैं, कुछ होता है बात, तो हमारी हिंदी की ऑडियंस जो सटीक सवाल पूछती है, उससे कभी कभी अचंभा होता है. तो मैं तो खुद पर्सनली हिंदी पे ज्यादा जोर देता हूं और सबको ये कहता हूं कि हिंदी नहीं, अगर मराठी आती, तमिल आती तो मैं सब में करता. मेरे को नहीं आती है तो मेरा लिमिटेशन है, मैं हिंदी और इंग्लिश में ही कर पाता हूं. बट हिंदी की बहुत बड़ी ऑडियंस है, और आपको कभी भी नहीं लगना चाहिए कि हिंदी में अगर किया है तो उसकी कोई कमी है. नगमा जैसे एंकर हमारे शानदार तरीके से करते हैं.
Thank you, Pallav. You're old friends since Bayrak time, and ये मेरी दूसरी सवाल होने वाली थी जैकब और अमिताभ से और आपसे भी. But let's just ask, on the right hand side. I love both of your articles in print media, and sometimes I wait for your articles, Amitabh and Jacob. Actually, in Germany we have called you Jakob. Okay, that's how we pronounce that. But tell me one thing. So, and this is the question to actually three of you. Kosi Sahab, Sinha Sahab, or Bagla Sahab. Ki once you one with so much change happening, कोई टिकटॉक देख रहा है, कोई दूसरा रील्स देख रहा है, 10 सेकंड का टीवी चैनल्स पे आ रहा है. It's such a noisy world, right? How do you make sure that integrity of that information stays, right? And especially Nitish ji ne sahi bola, during COVID, everybody was saying so many things. How does the general public understand what to believe in and what not to believe in? That's number one. The second query is, when you start writing for the print media, what is the process of finding whom to you talk to? You must be getting inundated, with a lot of stuff that you want to say, but how do you choose those, articles to write? Third, I love your long form articles. In the noisy world of, 30 seconds to 2 minutes to even like Direk Muller does for Veratium, how do we encourage long form articles in India? Right? These are the three things. Jacob, you first, Amitabh, and then the rest of the panel can pitch in.
So, I would say that I'm in one sense extra fortunate because I primarily write for a newspaper which has always had a committed interest in science. I mean, I have multiple colleagues. I'm not the only one who writes in science. I'm based in Delhi. I have other colleagues in Chennai who have it. And we have multiple pages that are dedicated to science. So it is a given that we have to fill those pages on a fairly regular frequency. So supply is never a problem with us. The second privilege that I share is precisely because I'm, I only have to write in print primarily. Though now I am more and more, because of the changing nature of media, we have to give in, let's say, video bites. We have to supplement our articles with other.
Do you do a podcast of yours?
Yes, I do a science history podcast also. So all of these privileges are actually, I think it is very specific to, only a few newspapers in India. Now, given that these, privileges exist, you again, like I said early on, you mold your kind of communication and the choice of things that you want to write about with the spaces that you have, because I don't have to give quick takes, I don't have to rush, and I don't have to completely change pages, as several times in TV happens, I mean, and radio happens. Hats off to you that you have to think constantly under that stress. So I'm kind of insulated from that. No stress in the production of it. Anyway,
But I mean, what you are saying, and I'd love to hear from Amitabh also, that you have more reflective time when you're
yes.
writing.
So that gives me an option to choose a much wider range of subjects, because when COVID happens, everybody wants to know the intricacies of spike proteins. Everybody wants to know the intricacies of what does a DNA vaccine vis-a-vis the Covishield one, vis-a-vis the the Bharat Biotech one. Everybody wants instant knowledge at that time, but it is precisely because of years of writing and dealing with scientists who have researched on multiple aspects of this, that at certain times your knowledge counts, especially during earthquakes or during calamities, and everybody wants to know P waves and S waves and sensors and ground pressure data and predictability, etc. But all that can only come during, as Palla very beautifully put it, peacetime reporting. That is when nobody's looking at you, and you have to write stories every day. You have to read technical journals, you have to speak to the right scientists, build trust enough for them to share enough information, and after that process all of that and write it in a way that is engaging. Because third privilege that I have is I know that my story is going to remain forever. It is a matter of searching. It is there, it will be there as on a website somewhere, and when people want to learn something, get background information. Nowadays, most of us in print, we also, along with stories, do these things called explainers, where many times we take a topic and we give a lot of background information that is immensely useful for students, people who are learning for competitive examinations, or general understanding or curiosity about a subject. So sometimes the impact of an article is not immediate, but it is like spread out over time. An article of mine that I wrote 10 years ago might suddenly have resonance today, and people do read and learn from it basis the responses that I get. So I hope that gives you
Thank you. Yes,
a broad overview.
absolutely. So that ties in with Pallav's peacetime. I'm going to steal that phrase later on. Amitabh, your take, please.
So you put three questions. How do people trust the kind of information that is coming? And that's not, again, it's not, it's very specific to science. It's about all sorts of information. I would say, people would have to develop trust in the kind of media that they are consuming, and there a lot of responsibility lies with media organizations itself. So we have to build up that trust. It doesn't come on its own, right? It is the same way wherein we trust certain people when we go seeking information from them, whether in the scientific community or outside. We trust certain people to give us authentic information good information, reliable information. That trust has been built over a long period of time and has withstood the test of time. Similarly, I would say a lot of readers probably already have, but you know, I don't want to get into that very different debate of media quality and all. But the fact that people, I think there are a lot of very discerning readers who do understand where. If the information they are consuming from a certain website or a certain thing, whether how much should they trust that information, how much should they rely on that information. So I think you have discerning readership that would make the difference. And as I said earlier, there is a lot of responsibility on media organizations itself to develop it further, to ensure that they become the trusted media organization. On the other point about longer format or shorter format, frankly, all sorts of formats work as long as you give good information,
Correct.
digestible information.
Yeah.
Just because reels are in fashion today, if you put out anything on reels, it's not going to work. Yes, you would probably have lesser number of people probably going in for a long form because it also requires time. But, the other side of it is that those would be quality readers who would be actually consuming your information for something in a qualitatively different way. So the formats do not depend. What you are giving as the content, that is very important, whether you're giving it in form of reels, whether you're giving it in short stories or podcasts or TV. All sorts of mediums work. Of course, there are consumers for all sorts of media, and the content has to be good and reliable, and you need to put in a lot of effort to create that kind of content.
Wonderful. Content has to be good. I hope you are all listening to that, right? Doesn't matter it's a reel or it's a long form that Jacob and Amitabh write. It has to, or what others kind of put it on media. The content has to be good. We have 3 minutes. I know we are under a countdown now, and Pallav has done a lot of ISRO launches, so he knows what a countdown means. So I'll pass it on to Sarah. And I have one last question, but let her go first.
Save it for the last, maybe the last good question. Nitin, I have a question for you, and that's mainly because as a science communicator, I'm endlessly amazed at radio, because radio engages its audience through just sound, and in science we love our images and visuals and text. So if you had to give an advice, to there's a room full of scientists and innovators sitting here. I mean, as in terms of content, of course, not everyone can have good voice and all of that, but in terms of content and messaging, how should people think about? How should scientists, science communicators think about packaging their content in a way that is appealing? As we ended on that note earlier. What would be your advice as a rodeo host who only relies on sound to do that?
So, I'd start with this, that you've got to understand that the audience is very varied, right? Like, for example, one of your panelists today, and I'm going to break the secret today to you, one of your panelists barely passed his science exam in the 10th. His bio teacher, chemistry teacher, and physics teacher were 3 teachers who categorically made sure that his parents would visit his school and told them that we don't think he's going to clear his 10th exam. That panelist is sitting right here, right? And now you put him on a podium over here to talk about science today. But my point is that one thing that everyone needs to keep in mind is, because it is your field of play, and those jargons are just normal language for you, right? They might come very naturally to you. Sometimes what happens is that we also face this problem whenever we get a scientist on board on the show to talk about something, or a doctor. We have to keep butting and telling them that, sir, ये समझ नहीं आएगा, इसको आप आम भाषा में बोलिए. And they're like, they get confused. They're like, but मैं इसको आम भाषा में कैसे बोलूं? ये तो हम बोलते ही ऐसे, मैं कहा yeah, but understand that the audience is probably not in sync with you. They will not understand this jargon. So whenever you're making videos about it, whenever you're going out and talking to the media, I would just say that try and keep it simple so that a larger audience gets it. I understand that there will be times when when the information is so specific that you have to use particular terms or whatever, but usually just keep it simple, and I'm sure that more people will connect with you and answer the call when we call you, right? That's my advice.
And scientists are considered boring and they don't like humor and jokes, but that's not true. So I think they can also perhaps use humor in certain situations to talk about the work that they do, because it can help engage audience.
And absolutely, science is appealing. Otherwise, films like the entire series of Avengers wouldn't have done well. People understand science. People do consume science. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to make one point about language of communication. And I think the language of science is English. And that's why scientists also feel more comfortable talking about science in English. And that has been the biggest barrier. Even in the the small work that I've done is whenever I've encouraged scientists to talk about their work in their own language, in their mother tongue, they've struggled because of jargon. Because jargons cannot be translated in Indian languages, because the language of science is English. But of course, Pallav, maybe you can share your experience, because you have reported on science in Hindi. So maybe you can share some pointers and your tips and tricks with the with our audience here, and how you can actually contextualize, think about science in a different language than English.
मुश्किल नहीं है,
I'm sure.
करने की जरूरत है. और अंग्रेजी इंडिया के अंदर साइंटिस्ट यूज करते हैं. गो टू चाइना, देयर साइंस इज डन इन मैंडरिन.
And so if
One of the reasons why China
Japan
prospers because they do it in their mother language. सहस्त्र बुद्धे साहब बैठे हुए हैं, हिंदी में आगे आगे विज्ञान और मेडिकल में जबरदस्त तरीके से प्रोत्साहन दिया है. अगर हम मदर टंग में बात करते होते तो आज ये जो हमें गैप है ये शायद नहीं होता. और साहब ने बहुत काम किया उस पे. I applaud him exactly for that reason. And we need to make sure, and personally, on this particular dispensation in the last 11 years has pushed Hindi and the mother tongues in a very big way. And scientists also need to understand, if they can't talk in their own languages in science, that means somewhere there is a lack in their understanding. कहते हैं ना, अगर आप एक पेज A4 पेज डबल स्पेस में ऐसे नहीं समझा पाओ कि आपकी माँ या आपकी दादी या आपने जो काम किया नहीं समझे, तो आपके काम में दम नहीं है.
अगर आपकी माँ दादी साइंटिस्ट हुई तो वो समझ पाएंगी, लेकिन अगर वो साइंटिस्ट नहीं हुई,
नहीं, आपको ऐसे ऐसे सज्जन को समझाने की जरूरत है जो नॉन साइंटिस्ट है, तब आपके काम में कोई दम है. साइंटिस्ट तो साइंटिस्ट में आपकी कलोकियम होते हैं, वर्कशॉप होती हैं, कॉन्फ्रेंस होती हैं, उसमें यू टॉक व्हाटएवर jargon you feel like, but you don't need to have complex stuff. Unless you can deconstruct for lay people, you will not get. And trust me, in this new dispensation of the NDA government, there is enough trust that you communicate well in all forms. अपनी तरफ से उनके जो लिमिटेशन है वो अलग बात है. That is a separate story.
Correct.
But I am talking to an audience of bio researchers. Let me point out one glaring example where the bio researchers failed India in a very big way. We covered the group captain Subhanshu Shukla mission in a very continuous manner. And among the experiments he did at the International Space Station, bulk of them were biology experiments.
correct.
But did any of the principal investigators of those experiments come and talk to us? No. I approached each one of them. Now, there is a barrier there. We need to overcome that barrier. Each of those scientists should be empowered to be able to talk about what their work is. And if I have to say very bluntly, we failed miserably in communicating about the 7 experiments we did. We had very little information and we did not get access to the scientists who were spearheading that information.
But that was,
I don't know whether Amitabh and Jacob have a different
that
experience.
was going to be my last question, and you have an amazing art of actually knowing what the question is coming. Okay,
I knew for a while.
we have Vinay sir already here. 4 minutes. I know even we were talking about Subhranshu. His launch got delayed by 7 days. It's already launch time plus 4 minutes. And we have also MD Bairak here, Dr. Jitendra Kumar. And so my last question, rapid fire round to all of you, is this. आप लोग 2 चीजें ऐसे बताइए जो हमारे साइंटिस्ट, वैज्ञानिक, हमारे क्लिनिकल रिसर्चर्स और हमारे इनोवेटर्स करें, हमारे इंस्टीट्यूशंस, there is CSIR institution, there's DBT here, there is NCBS was yesterday, so DAE was here, Department of Atomic Energy, CSIR is here, Dr. Vinay Nandikuri is here, Dr. Radha Rangarajan is here. क्या करें? So 2 things they need to change in their mindset, behavior, or whatever it is. I don't want to be negative. That would help you. Pallav has already said that nobody came to him to discuss the 7 experiment. Let's do it from the right to the left. So Jacob, please go ahead. And then Amitabh. Then we'll skip Pallav because he already said that. Nagma ji and Nitin ji, and then we'll give the last word to Pallav again.
So the 2 things that I'd like to say is that it's something which actually many scientists already know. One is that if at all you approach a journalist on your own, you do not have to expect what is called publicity. All you have to do is explain what you do, because at the end of it, we want to write an engaging story that is true. Secondly, and I've interacted with several scientists who actually follow this, is that also, just as we make the effort to understand not just science and technology, but about the actual conditions under which scientists work, the larger ecosystem under which science works, it would also be very helpful if you also understand the way newspapers work. Take a little bit more curiosity in the creation of news, just as we kind of have put our lives into understanding the ecosystem and the creation of science. Many scientists I deal with are already very curious and engaged with this. It's fabulous, but I think that more of it would actually contribute to communication and popularization of science by exponential levels.
Thank you. Amitabh?
I don't know whether I have 2.
Maybe you have 3, but as long as
I have just one.
Wonderful. You have 30 seconds.
Not specifically to individual scientists, mainly to the institutions and the establishment largely. I would say they need to loosen a bit. I mean, I think a lot of
that's
institutions
a
are
fabulous point.
very
Salia on this, right?
So
Loosen.
a lot of institutions are very, very stiff, very uptight. I think you need to relax. You need to little bit loosen yourself as far as communication goes.
Thank you. And what Jacob also said, please understand their lives also, their constraints, and their demands on their time. So that's really nice. Okay, Nagma ma'am.
तो जो बाकी लोगों ने कहा है उसी को दोहरा रही हूँ, लेकिन एक तो भाषा की बात की पल्लव ने। भाषा का मतलब है कि इतना डरिए मत कि हिंदी में बोलना है, कोई बहुत भयानक भयंकर।
मैं उड़िया हूँ और मैं हिंदी में बात कर सकता हूँ।
नहीं, तो मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि हिंदी वो जो हमारी बोलचाल की भाषा है, हिंदी बोलते ही मत समझिए कि हर एक जार्गन को आपको अंग्रेजी से हिंदी में कर देना पड़ेगा। आप अंग्रेजी के जार्गन या जो शब्द हैं इस्तेमाल कीजिए, पर अपनी जो बेसिक भाषा है, जो बातचीत की भाषा है, थोड़ा उसमें करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। और मैं कहूँगी कि डीकंस्ट्रक्ट करने की जरूरत है। जो कहा था पल्लव ने ना कि अगर आप के पास जानकारी है, एक पेज फुल जानकारी है, पर मैं नहीं जानती हूँ, तो अगर आप मुझे 4-5 लाइंस में समझा सकें कि क्या है, तब मैं समझूंगी कि आपको वो जानकारी पूरी तरह से समझ में आ गई है। जो अच्छी तरह से समझ जाएगा वही उसको आसानी से समझा सकता है, वरना वही चीज आप मेरे सामने रख देंगे तो फिर आप में और मुझ में फर्क क्या हुआ? आप मुझे समझाइए। तो उसको आसान बनाने से मतलब ये नहीं, आई एम नॉट आस्किंग यू टू डम्प इट डाउन, लेट्स नॉट कंफ्यूज ओवर दैट। to simplify things is not dumbing it down. Make it accessible, make it easy for me to understand, and that will happen if you understand it well. Then that I think we're good to go.
रिचर्ड फाइनमैन ने कहा था कि अगर आप अपने साइंस को एक प्राइमरी स्कूल में सिखा सकते हैं, स्पेशली हाइजेनबर्ग अनसर्टेनिटी प्रिंसिपल, देन आप यू हैव हिट द नेल, राइट? नितिन जी,
तो पहले तो मैं कहूँगा आपसे, देखिए एक तो बुरा मानिएगा, गिव एंड टेक है। अभी मैं इनसे पूछूंगा, मैं रोज़ सुबह 7 से कह रहा था 92.7 बिग एफएम पर, आज सुबह मैं किस बारे में बात कर रहा था, आई डोंट नो कितने लोग हाथ उठाएंगे। तो एक तो पहले मेरा शो सुनना शुरू करो, ताकि आपको समझ आए कि हम साइंस के बारे में बात करते हैं। हमारे तरीके अलग हैं, हम उसको थोड़ा सिंपल बनाते हैं ताकि ज़्यादा लोगों को समझ आए, पर हम साइंस के बारे में बात करते हैं। दूसरी बात, आई वुड सजेस्ट दिस टू ऑल माई साइंटिस्ट फ्रेंड्स ओवर हियर दैट आपको कई बार ये लगेगा कि यार ये जो इन्फॉर्मेशन है ना, ये तो बड़ी कॉम्प्लेक्स सी है, ये खुराफाती नितिन रेडियो पे इसका क्या करेगा। आप ये सोचना बंद कर दें, क्योंकि हमें हमेशा कंटेंट चाहिए होता है। तो अगर आप हमारे पास आएंगे और कोई डिस्कवरीज हैं जो आपने की हैं, चाहे वो मेडिकल चाहे फार्मा में हो, चाहे किसी और क्षेत्र में हो, अगर आपको लगता है कि आपने कोई भी डिस्कवरी की, आप चाहते हैं कि ज़्यादा जनता को पता लगे उस बारे में, तो प्लीज़ हम तक आइए। उसे कैसे जनता तक पहुँचाना है वो आप हम पे छोड़ दीजिए, बट नेवर होल्ड योरसेल्फ बैक। आई एम ऑलवेज देयर। आप हमें जब भी अप्रोच करेंगे, we'll talk about your discoveries on air. That's a promise.
थैंक यू नितिन। पालव, लास्ट वर्ड, बट हम लोग लॉन्च के 10 मिनट वी हैव ओवरस्टेप्ड, और सर बैठे हैं इन 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 आवर ऑडियंस। नमस्कार। वो टाइम को देखकर 30 seconds.
Very simply, I would say that, see, even today,
मैं तो सोच रहा था आप हिंदी में
scientists
बोलेंगे।
approach me, they give me press releases in words. दुनिया बदल गई है। You should be giving me videos, animations, GIFs, reels, vertical, horizontal, cartoons. Give me everything. Today, the medium has changed. You give me an A4 page, it is accessible to very few people. Still, scientists are unable to do that. And I always tell, make sure that all of your releases are available with all of these mediums. And one last point, when you give a press release, make sure there is a number and a name for people to get back and contact. 90% of the press releases come without a name and a number. They are dead.
With that, a big round of applause for them and my co-moderator Sarah here. Thank you. 11 मिनट हमने अधिक किया है, पर मैं फराज को बोला था क्योंकि फर्स्ट 10 minutes I have to introduce. So sir, माफ कीजिए, हम लोग we are on time. Thank you panelists. Lovely meeting you. Thank you Sarah. Thanks.